Have you ever let someone's words ruin your entire day? A rude comment, a careless gesture, or just their silence, and suddenly your peace is gone. But here's the truth. No one can make you angry unless you hand them the power. Every time you react without pause, you give them the keys to your inner world. But when you learn to master that space between what happens and how you respond, that's where your freedom begins. This isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about reclaiming control. It's about walking through the noise untouched, unshaken, unbothered. And it all starts with one simple shift, the way you choose to react. Let's begin with the foundation. Your reaction is your power. Every time something happens to us, we react. Instantly, automatically, as if we have no choice. Someone says something disrespectful, someone ignores us, someone crosses a line, and before we even realize it, our mind flares up. But here's the quiet truth most people never see. Your reaction is your power. No one, and I mean no one, can control how you feel without your permission. They can say what they want. They can act how they want. But the moment you choose to take it personally, that's the moment you hand them the keys to your inner world. The Stoics taught this again and again. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't always control what happens around you, but you can always control what happens within you. That tiny space, the pause between stimulus and response, that's where your strength lives. When you respond, instead of reacting, something powerful happens. Their words lose their grip. Their behavior stops defining your emotional state. You stop being a puppet to other people's actions. Most people live like emotional mirrors. Whatever the world throws at them, they reflect back. Anger with anger, disrespect with disrespect. But the one who understands their power doesn't reflect. They choose, they pause, they breathe, they watch. And then they decide, calmly, deliberately, how to respond. That's not weakness, that's power. Because the loudest person in the room isn't the strongest. The calmest one is. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, remind yourself, they can't make me feel anything without my permission. You are the gatekeeper of your emotional world. Your reaction decides whether you stay free or become a prisoner of other people's behavior. And once you see this clearly, their words lose their grip. Your reaction is your power. One of the biggest sources of frustration isn't what people do. It's what we expected them to do. We expect kindness. We expect understanding. We expect loyalty, effort, empathy, respect. And when they don't give it, we feel disappointed, even angry. But here's the quiet truth. Expectations are silent contracts they never signed. You built a picture in your mind of how they should act, but they were never obligated to follow that script. They're living their story, their logic, their beliefs, not yours. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous and surly, but none of them can harm me.'" He wasn't being cynical. He was preparing his mind. He removed the illusion of expectation so he could meet reality as it is, not as he wished it to be. When you stop expecting others to think like you, something powerful happens. You stop feeling betrayed when they don't. You stop carrying the weight of your imaginary contracts, and frustration dissolves. This doesn't mean you lower your standards. It means you understand clearly that other people have their own programming, their own wounds, their own timeline. They don't see the world the way you do, and they don't have to. When someone lets you down, it's not necessarily personal. It's just them, being them. You can either fight reality or accept it and protect your peace. So instead of saying, "I can't believe they acted that way," remind yourself, of course they did. That's who they are. Expectation chains you to disappointment. Acceptance sets you free. And when you stop expecting, the weight lifts, the noise quiets. Frustration simply dissolves. We live in a world where everyone wants to be right. Arguments aren't about understanding anymore, they're about winning. We interrupt each other, we raise our voices, we hold on to our point of view like a sword, swinging it at anyone who disagrees. And in the end, no one really wins, because even when you win the argument, you often lose your peace. Here's the truth. The urge to be right is a trap. It keeps your ego fed, but your mind restless. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't seek to be right. They sought to understand. They sought to stay calm, to stay centered. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with his own approval." You don't need to prove your truth to everyone. You just need to live it. When you let go of the need to win every battle, something beautiful happens. The conversation becomes lighter, the tension dissolves, and your peace returns to you. Because here's the thing, some people argue not to find truth, but to protect their pride. No amount of logic, no perfect sentence, no gotcha moment will change their mind. And the more you try to win, the deeper you sink into their chaos. Letting go doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to know what's worth your energy and what isn't. You can simply smile, stay silent, walk away, or say, "You may be right," not because you agree, but because you choose peace over ego. When you stop needing to be right, their words lose their power over you. Their noise fades, and in that silence you stand steady, calm, untouchable. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a pointless battle, remember, not every fight deserves a warrior. Some only deserve your silence. When you release the urge to win, you win something far greater. You win your peace. Words can cut deep. A careless comment, a cruel joke, a judgment whispered loud enough for you to hear. And suddenly, your chest tightens, your mind spins, your peace fades. But here's the truth most people never learn. Criticism only hurts when you give it weight. Their words have no real power until you decide they do. You give them meaning. You give them permission. You let them define who you are. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks badly of you, live so that no one believes them." That's the power of detachment. When someone tries to insult you, it doesn't stick unless you accept it. Their words are like arrows. They only land if you stand still and let them. But if you detach your worth from their opinion, those arrows fall to the ground. You are not what they say. You are not their projection. Their criticism belongs to them, not to you. When you build your worth from within, their noise loses its volume. Their opinions turn into background static. But what about when they keep crossing your lines? That's where boundaries come in, clear, calm, firm. Detachment doesn't mean silence in the face of disrespect. It means not letting their words define your value while you protect your space, with quiet strength. And the moment you do that, you stop giving strangers the power to shape your self-image. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's not something they can give or take away. So the next time someone speaks, remember, it's just sound. What matters is whether you let it in. Detach your worth from their words and watch their power disappear. Peace doesn't just happen. It's not a gift, it's a discipline. And one of the hardest disciplines you'll ever learn is saying no. Because deep down, most of us want to be liked. We say yes when we mean no. We stay silent when we should speak. We tolerate what drains us, just to avoid conflict. But every time you do that, you trade a little piece of your peace for approval. Here's the truth. Peace requires saying no without apology. It's not about being cold or selfish. It's about understanding that your energy, your time, your emotional space are limited resources, and not everyone deserves access to them. The Stoics understood this long before the word boundaries even existed. Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." That's a boundary. It's choosing where your attention goes and who gets to stand close enough to influence your peace. When you draw those lines, clearly, calmly, and consistently, something powerful happens. The noise quiets, the chaos fades, and suddenly your inner world starts to feel safe again. Some people will call you distant. Others might call you arrogant. That's okay. Their discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means your peace no longer serves their chaos. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your heart. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. You open them with intention, and you close them when you need rest. So learn to say no softly but firmly, to protect your space without guilt. Because if you don't guard your peace, someone else will waste it. And once your space is safe, their opinions lose power. You'll stop reacting to everything that tries to pull you off balance. You'll stop explaining, defending, or overgiving. You'll simply live, calm, steady, untouchable. Because peace begins where people-pleasing ends. In a noisy world, everyone has an opinion about what you should do, how you should live, who you should be, and if you let every voice get inside your head, you'll never hear your own. Here's the truth. You don't need to fight every opinion. You don't need to prove, explain, or convince. You just need to let their words flow past, like wind through trees. The Stoics mastered this art. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Their opinions are just sounds in the air. They only become heavy when you pick them up and carry them. Detaching from opinions doesn't mean shutting down or becoming cold. It means seeing clearly and refusing to let someone else's noise dictate your peace. You can love people without obeying their expectations. You can respect them without agreeing with them. You can stay kind and stay free. Because the moment you build your identity on the shifting ground of public opinion, you lose yourself. One person approves, another disapproves, and suddenly your worth swings like a door in the wind. But when you anchor your sense of self within, the wind may blow, but you stay still. And when someone tries to provoke you, when they throw words meant to sting, remember this simple truth. You don't have to respond. You can say less or nothing at all. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. The less you absorb, the freer you become. Detach from opinions, not humanity. Stay kind, but untangled. Present, but unbothered. And your peace will speak louder than their noise. When someone provokes you, your first impulse is to react. Raise your voice, defend yourself, prove your point. That's what most people do. They match fire with fire. But fire doesn't end a fire. It spreads it. Here's the truth. Silence ends the fight before it starts. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." When someone throws their chaos at you and you meet it with silence, you break the chain. You take away the oxygen their fire needs to burn. Silence isn't weakness. It's power. Quiet, steady, unshakable power. Because silence says, "You don't control me." It says, "Your noise stops with me." When you stop giving anger a place to land, it eventually has nowhere to go. And the moment you choose silence over reaction, something shifts. The situation softens, the tension dissolves, and you remain untouched. But what if the anger is already inside you? What if it's not just their words, but your own storm? That's where silence becomes something deeper. A pause, a breath, a return to yourself. When you stop speaking, you give your mind space to see clearly, to separate your emotion from your reaction, to let the first wave of anger pass without letting it steer your life. Seneca called anger a kind of temporary madness, and silence is the cure, because words spoken in rage are arrows you can never pull back. But silence leaves no wounds. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, don't shout over it. Stand still, be quiet. Let their storm burn out in your calm. Because silence is louder than anger. It ends the fight before it begins, and it keeps your power exactly where it belongs, with you. Anger grows in the dark spaces of your mind, in the corners where frustration builds, where expectations break, where resentment quietly collects. And the more you feed it, the louder it gets. But here's something most people never realize. You can't be grateful and furious at the same time. Gratitude is like light. When you turn it on, the darkness can't stay. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius often began his reflections with reminders of what he already had, not what was missing. Epictetus taught his students to focus on what is within their control and to be thankful for it. Because when your mind is anchored in gratitude, anger loses its grip. You can't fully appreciate the moment and stay trapped in rage at the same time. One emotion pushes out the other. When someone offends you, your reflex might be to clench your jaw, replay their words, build a case in your head. But what if, instead of feeding that fire, you shift your focus? What if you remind yourself of what remains untouched? Your strength, your freedom, your inner world. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about remembering that no insult can take away your peace, unless you give it away. When you return to gratitude, your chest softens, your breathing slows, your thoughts clear. The storm inside you starts to calm. And then something powerful happens. Their attack becomes fuel. Fuel for patience. Fuel for clarity. Fuel for your growth. Anger demands reaction. Gratitude creates perspective. So the next time anger rises like a wave, pause, breathe, find one thing, just one, to be grateful for in that moment. Watch how the wave weakens. Watch how your power returns. Gratitude doesn't argue with anger, it dissolves it. Criticism. For most people, it feels like an attack, a wound, a judgment, a sharp reminder that someone doesn't approve. But here's the quiet truth. Criticism is not a weapon. It's a mirror. When someone criticizes you, they're showing you two things at once: who they are and what they see. The Stoics taught that no insult or judgment has any power unless you hand it your peace. Epictetus said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" That's not arrogance. That's clarity. Criticism is information. That's all it is. You can look at it, reflect, and if it's useful, grow from it. Or you can drop it and keep walking. Most people do the opposite. They hold on to criticism like a burning coal, gripping it tightly, replaying it over and over, and in the process, they burn themselves. But if you treat criticism like a mirror, not a weapon, something changes. You look at it once. You learn what's real. Then you release it. Not every opinion deserves to live rent-free in your head. Not every comment is truth. Some criticism reveals areas to grow. Some just reveals the smallness of the person speaking. Your job isn't to fight every voice. Your job is to stay rooted in your own. And here's the most freeing part. You don't even need to defend yourself. You can simply say nothing. You can walk away. You can choose peace. Criticism only becomes pain when you hold on to it. But when you let it pass through, it loses its heat. So the next time someone throws their judgment at you, ask yourself, is there truth here I can use? Or is this simply noise to release? Either way, you're free. Because the fire that burns the loudest is the one you choose to keep holding. And today, we let it go. Most people believe power comes from control, from gripping tightly, from holding on. But the Stoics knew the opposite is true. Real power is in letting go. Because the tighter you hold what's hurting you, the more it burns. Every replayed conversation, every grudge, every what if and why me. It becomes a chain you wear around your mind. But here's the truth. You were never meant to carry all of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Letting go doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It doesn't mean you forget. It means you stop handing your peace over to the past. Think of it like standing in a burning room, gripping the very thing that's on fire. The moment you release it, the burning stops. Yes, it might still hurt. Yes, the memory might still echo. But the power it once had over you is gone. Letting go is not weakness, it's strength in its purest form. Because you're choosing peace over pride, presence over pain, freedom over control. You can't control the wind, you can't rewrite the past, but you can unclench your fist. You can choose to walk forward. When you stop fighting what's already happened, you step back into your own power. Your mind quiets, your breath deepens, and life moves again. This is the ultimate Stoic mastery, not conquering others, but freeing yourself. So whatever it is you've been holding, the resentment, the need for justice, the story that keeps looping, loosen your grip. Let it fall. And in that moment, you'll feel it. The weight lifting, the air clearing, your freedom returning. Because your power isn't in control. It's in release.